Today we have something very special. This is a micro four thirds lens, but this is not just any micro four thirds lens. This is the Leica 42.5 Nocticron f1.2. This is one bad lens, and by bad I mean good. This right here is a lens meant for pros or enthusiasts. It's a little bit pricier than the other lenses. It's about $1,500. Maybe if you get a used one, you can get it for about $1,000. But it's on the more expensive side of the lenses that you can purchase out there for micro four thirds because it's an f1.2, and that is a fast lens. That means that you're gonna get great low light pictures. You're gonna get that bokeh. If you're the person that likes the blurred background, this is the lens for you. This will give you better blurred background, better blurred backgrounds. Say that 3 times real fast. Better blurred backgrounds, This will get you better blurred backgrounds, better than any other lens out there right now for a micro four thirds. So it's a 42.5 millimeter, which is equivalent to a 85 millimeter on a full frame camera. And let's go ahead and dive into this, shall we? Are you excited? Because I am. Okay, so the first thing that I see when I'm opening this is some kind of lens case, pouch, thingamabobber. Has little straps, and if you need this, it's there. The next thing that we have is the lens itself. Oh, there's also instructions, but I don't know how many people actually read those. And here is the lens. Oh, actually, we have the lens cap, which is made out of metal, which is good. Very sturdy, fine quality. And then we have the lens itself. Now the first thing I'm noticing about this lens is how heavy it is. Usually micro four thirds lenses are a lot lighter. They're usually made out of plastic. This, however, again, it's made out of metal, just like the lens hood. Now, in order to achieve an f-stop of 1.2, you're gonna need a lot of glass. And that's what's happening here. If you notice that this is a pretty hefty lens compared to any other micro four thirds lens that I've seen that isn't necessarily a zoom. This is a prime lens, meaning in order to zoom in and out, you gotta use your damn feet. So, there's no zoom ring here. You can't change the focal length at all. For a prime lens to be this big, it's not the norm. However, you are getting probably one of the fastest, sharpest lens on a micro four thirds. Just to give you an idea of what this looks like on a camera, I have a G7 here. And let's go ahead and there we go. So this is what it looks like on the G7. It fits the body very well. I think this would also look really good on the GX8. But if you're getting into the smaller cameras, it might feel a little awkward. But I've seen people do it, and technically when you're shooting a picture anyways, one hand under the lens, one hand on the camera. So if you're taking pictures in low light, if you are looking for that depth of field, that blurred background, that bokeh, this is gonna be for you. Also, it has a aperture ring on here where you can manually adjust the aperture. So you can go from f1.2 all the way to f16. It has a autofocus and manual focus on and off switch, so you can switch between those two. And it also has a image stabilization on and off button. But let's actually take this bad boy out and see what it can do. I'm gonna apply the lens hood on this. And again, even with the lens hood, doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look too bad on the GX7. Let's go! So I decided to head out to the open space in a city called Lafayette. It's about 30 minutes out from San Francisco. I felt this would be a perfect place to test out various capabilities of the lens. Oh, and that's my golden doodle Mia. You should check her out on Instagram. This lens so far has really impressed me with how sharp it is. Usually fast lenses soften drastically when you shoot wide open. This wasn't the case here when I was shooting at f1.2. This next picture, you can see there's still a lot of detail here in the hair. I really enjoy the feel of this lens and the overall quality. I can't get over how much I feel like a professional photographer, even though I'm just a mere amateur. In my next picture, pay attention to the blur in the right hand corner. Yet you'll see that the detail is still kept vividly where it's focused on Mia. Fast lenses tend to lose some of their color pop. This was not the case with the Nocticron. I was really impressed by the color rendition and the contrast capabilities at f1.2. Although generally lenses with these type of focal lengths are targeted for portrait photography, I don't think it should be boxed into one category. There are no rules to photography, and as mentioned, this lens produces great landscape images and really defines the distance between objects with crystal clear details. Here's a dramatic example of the blur that can be achieved with the Nocticron lens on this post. This is achieved with the lens's 14 elements in 11 groups and the 9 diaphragm aperture blades. Now, I've heard people say that this lens isn't necessarily good for shooting macro images. However, I was able to get close enough to objects where I felt like it was definitely possible. There was a slight struggle with the focus, and I had to keep a distance of about 1 foot. However, you have to remember this lens is an equivalent to an 85mm focal length on a full frame sensor. Let's not forget to mention, this fast lens also really gives a professional cinematic look to your videos. The Nocticron coupled with the 4K video tailored GH5 camera will be a killer pair. Overall, this is by far one of the better lenses in the Micro Four Thirds lineup, if not the best. It only slightly falters how it handles the chromatic aberrations and fringing. Quick fall-offs in light often result in purple and green fringes, but can easily be nerfed in Adobe Lightroom. When it comes to flare, the Nocticron does a fine job of handling harsh bits of light on the edges of your frame. This is partially due to the nano coating applied to the lens. Also, this lens can be tricky if you need to focus quickly due to such a large aperture. I found that a lot of my action shots were out of focus when using autofocus. However, this can be minimized if you can figure out the focal length between you and the object and shoot in manual focus. In conclusion, if you can afford the Nocticron, it is definitely a lens you should add to your arsenal. It pretty much dominates in every aspect of a prime lens, and the quality is unmatched compared to any native Micro Four Thirds lens out there. Again, if you're interested in this lens, I provided a link in the description below. Otherwise, hope you enjoyed the video and here are a few more shots I've taken with the Nocticron.